Since the NFL draft is this week, I wanted to highlight 3 guys that I'm really keeping my eye on for when and where they land that could be huge sleepers in your rookie draft. So first up, we have my absolute favorite late round running back, and that's Chase Brown out of Illinois. Now, Brown is a 5-year player at the college level, originally starting at Western Michigan, then transferring to Illinois, where the last 2 seasons in 2021 and 2022 were very productive. In 2021, in only 10 games played, he rushed for over 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns on 170 carries, and also added 140 yards on 14 receptions. But 2022 was the huge breakout season for Chase Brown, over 1,600 rushing yards, 10 rushing touchdowns on 328 carries, plus another 240 and 3 on 27 receptions through the air, as he was basically the entire engine for the Illinois offense. When you look at Brown in my marker system, he currently hits on 7 out of 10 markers, which as of right now, before draft capital gets factored in, that's tied for second in this class behind Bijan Robinson. He hits on everything that I want athletically with his 5'9.5", 209-pound frame, which crosses the 30 BMI threshold that I'm looking for. He ran a 4.43 40 at that size, which is one of the highest speed scores in this class, and his burst score is second highest in the class too, with a 40-inch vertical and 127-inch broad jump. The only markers that he doesn't hit on are early production because of the transfer and getting integrated into that Illinois offense, and then yards per carry. I also highly doubt that he's a top 60 pick, so he's not going to hit that marker either. So he's just right there at 7 out of 10 markers as most likely a day 3 pick. And it's those types of running backs that I love to target late in my rookie drafts. The guys who showcase the ability to be workhorses in college with pass catching ability and athleticism. That all it takes is that one injury and he's a valuable player in your starting lineup for however long that is. In fact, when you filter down my markers to players with 7 or more markers hit, drafted on day 3, you get 11 players in this sample size. And of those 11, 5 of them posted a top 36 season. Actually, all 5 of them posted multiple top 36 seasons. 3 of them posted top 24 seasons. And the best name on this list with 4 RB1 seasons is Aaron Jones. The other 4 productive players were Chase Edmonds, Marlon Mack, Devontae Booker, and Buck Allen. Now, those aren't great names, obviously, outside of Aaron Jones, but what more do you want from a day 3 running back pick? I mean, this is essentially saying that there's a 50-50 chance that Chase Brown will have some sort of relevancy for fantasy football. And actually, if you filter down to players drafted in rounds 4 and 5, that increases to a 60-40 chance for Chase Brown if he is drafted in those 2 rounds. So he is probably going to be that one player that if I have any 3rd round pick and he's there on the clock while I'm making that pick, boom, there it is. Chase Brown. Another probably day 3 running back that is similar to Chase Brown is Eric Gray out of Oklahoma. Now, Gray is a 4-year player who also transferred early on, originally starting at Tennessee before going to Oklahoma for the 2021 season. Gray was productive at Tennessee, though, with over 1,000 total yards, 6 touchdowns as a sophomore before heading over to Oklahoma. He wasn't that involved in 2021, though, behind Kennedy Brooks, but in 2022, he rushed for almost 1,400 yards and 11 touchdowns, plus 33 receptions for 229 yards receiving. In my marker system, Gray is sitting at 6 out of 10 markers, which is right there with guys like Zach Charbonnet, Devon Achane, Kendre Miller, Tyjae Spears, Israel Abanikanda, just a huge tier of guys that I'm hoping basically gets sorted out by the NFL draft. But I do expect Eric Gray to be a day 3 pick, but depending on where he goes, he could be an interesting sleeper because he's basically the same size as Chase Brown. He did run a 4.62 40, which you don't love to see, and it actually puts him down as one of the slowest backs in this class. But he does have good burst, though, and like I mentioned, his production was great throughout his career, especially as a receiver with 99 career receptions and 2 seasons with over 30 receptions. Actually, funny enough, Gray's closest comp as a prospect in my database is actually Clyde Edwards-Helaire, which is probably very indicative of how overdrafted CEH was, but also possibly a signal to Gray being a little undervalued or at least overlooked right now by the NFL and Dynasty community. Add a little bit more weight to Eric Gray and you get comps that are also like Mark Ingram and Kareem Hunt as top-end players, but perhaps more accurately to Gray's career outlook, there is also Mike Davis on this list, who did very well as a starter in Carolina when Christian McCaffrey got hurt and he actually got volume, plus receiving volume as well too. But I think Eric Gray could have fantasy relevance in the right situation and opportunity. So depending on where he lands and when he lands, he'll also be on my short list of guys that I'm targeting in rounds 3 and 4 of my rookie drafts. And then finally, this really isn't like a sleeper, like, why is nobody talking about this guy kind of sleeper? It's more like I think he's undervalued and could offer a lot of potential at discounted prices, and that's Cedric Tillman out of Tennessee. Now, I've been very on record with saying that this wide receiver class is really just not good, and I'm also not that interested in taking any receiver outside my top 4 or 5, but Cedric Tillman is currently my wide receiver 6, and I am team Tillman over Hyatt as well, because I think Tillman offers something that a lot of players in this class just can't, and that's true X receiver size, speed, and talent. Now, typically players of Tillman's profile aren't guys that I'm chasing. He's a 5-year player who didn't break out until year 4. He just turned 23 years old. And if he falls outside the top 60, that's typically like the final sign that a player just isn't really going to do much at the NFL level. What's even worse, not only did he not break out until year 4, he didn't really play like at all in his first 3 years. He played 6 games in 3 seasons, playing behind Marquez Callaway, Juwan Jennings, Josh Palmer. Those aren't names that you're happy to hear that he can't be out in college. But he did have a great breakout season in 2021, almost 1,100 yards and 12 touchdowns on 64 receptions in his first season as a starter and in Hendon Hooker's first season at Tennessee too. Unfortunately, though, Tillman fought through an ankle injury for the majority of 2022. He was still very productive in his last couple of games, though, 7 for 68 against Georgia, 9 for 81 and 2 against South Carolina. So there were signs in 2022 that he was returning to that 2021 form. The other positive for Tillman right now is his recent surge in value in NFL mock drafts that shows maybe the NFL is viewing Tillman more as a top prospect in this class, and he could go higher than a lot of people expect. I've seen him mocked to like Green Bay to replace Allen Lazard. I've seen him mocked to the New York Giants. If they decide to go somewhere else in the first round, they're able to grab Cedric Tillman in round 2. I've seen him mocked to Carolina to pair him with their rookie quarterback, whoever they take at 1.01. And I've even seen him mocked as recently as like a couple of days ago on a CBS mock draft, being mocked to Kansas City in the first round, which is something that I think would actually put him as a fringe first rounder in rookie drafts because of that situation and that draft capital. But let's just say he's a mid to late second rounder in the NFL draft and his rookie ADP stays where it has been as like a fringe second rounder in Superflex leagues, then that's a price that I'd be willing to jump in on for that upside of an X receiver in a class with not a lot of X receivers. This could be another Kenny Golladay situation where he's found himself in a good landing spot with opportunity ahead of him, a good quarterback, and I'm not going to say comes out of nowhere, but like just over exceeds expectations and produces very well for a short amount of time. Or he could be Jalen Tolbert all over again, which is a possibility. But regardless, I wanted to mark Cedric Tillman down as a prospect of interest for me later in your rookie drafts. Now, if y'all want to hear 2 more players that I'm targeting late in rookie drafts, I posted that video for members of our YouTube channel. So if you want access to that, as well as about a dozen other member-only videos right now, check out the link in the description, join the bonus content tier, and gain access to everything that we have for members of this channel. Otherwise, you can check out 5 moves that you need to be making right now before the NFL draft in this video right up here.